अभी तो कम है, आपने वो बढ़ाना है आपने।
हाँ 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 जी। Good evening, students. I welcome you all on this session of How to Face CA Exam, Plan, Prepare and Perform for the students who are appearing in intermediate and final examination in May 2022. I welcome my chairman, CA Dayanivas Sharma, who is also going to be joined by our vice chairman, CA Vishal Doshi. So I welcome you, sir. This is the opportunity, students, you have to listen from the stalwarts of this profession. They'll guide you from their own experience. Like they have also gone through what you will also be going through. So it's not that you are the only one who are going to appear for the exams. We all have also gone through this phase. We also had our initial hiccups. We also had our stress. And we also wanted that somebody should guide us as to how we should strategize our plan so that we are able to appear in the exams and without any tensions. So students, what we are going to cover today is that we are going to, our chairman and vice chairman will let you know about the commonly occurring errors which you people are committing while doing the exams. So they'll be highlighting as to what type of mistakes you are committing so that you should avoid those mistakes and prepare in such a manner that you overcome those problems and write in a way which is expected of you in the exam. And students, what we have also observed is that you people know the paper, you know the subject, but once what you are doing is when you're writing in the exam, you don't plan out. Like we are having 5 questions, you need to plan out how much time is to be devoted for which type of question. And usually what we see is you start with the question which is very tough. So you tend to devote more time in that particular question and miss the questions. You are not able to write properly for the questions for which you know the answers very well. So you start with those questions for which you are very sure and try not taking too much time in those questions also which you know very well. Sometimes what you do is the mark allocation is say 4 marks and you know so much, you tend to write as if it is a question for 10 marks. So you are going to waste your time, additional time in writing something which is not required. Don't think that if you write more, you are going to get more marks. Nobody is going to give you more marks than the allotted marks. So try to plan out in such a way that you write what is appropriate. Don't write too much. You should read the question properly. And what we have also observed is that you know the question. When you read, you are in a hurry. So question is asking how, and you are writing what. Question is saying that you need to explain in this particular situation how, as an auditor, you will be reporting. What you do is you start writing about the standard and you do not say how you are going to report using that particular standard. So that application based things, understand and then write. And the papers which are having MCQ based questions, students, you need to know MCQ questions are such which are going to test your knowledge, your conceptual clarity. So kindly go through the booklets which we have come out for the MCQs, case scenario based questions, and the case studies digest, which will help you in revising as to what you have read. Because once you read a topic, what you do is you need to rather see which option is actually correct, because options may be very near to each other. But if you know the subject, you will pinpoint the correct answer. So do read the questions well, which will help you in actually rather overcoming that problem, and you can score well also. Right? So plan your time for the MCQ based questions and for the subjective questions. Right? Be brief, be to the point, and try attempting all the questions, so that, and leave 10 minutes for revising also, because revision is very important. Sometimes what is happening, you might have marked the wrong, you have attempted question 2 part B, but you have written it wrongly as 3 part B. So what is going to happen is, though you have written it correctly, but you may not get marked according to what you have written, right? So write proper question number, the subpart you are attempting, and see anything you feel needs to be underlined, underline it, highlight it. The important terminologies you have used, highlight them. One more thing is, you are having 15 minutes time for reading. So use that 15 minutes to plan as to with which question you are going to start. That 15 minutes should make you rather self-sufficient to attempt the question in the seriatim you would like to attempt. Because this 15 minutes time is going to give you that, overcome your initial hiccups. And once you start, when the clock will struck 2, you can start clearly with which question you would like to start with your paper. So students, we'll be discussing much more about it as we'll progress further. And the way we have planned it, our program is that first our chairman will be talking to you as to how to build up your confidence, how to overcome your stress, and how to use this 20 days time before the exams. Because you would have done their revision as of now. So he'll give you last moment tips as to how you will be writing, how you will be preparing. So he'll apprise you about that. Then he'll also tell you about the commonly occurring errors which you people usually do it, and specific tips for specific papers where you want to know as to what to write, how to write. Fine. And our vice chairman also will be shortly joining, and he will continue this particular exercise further. And students, let me also tell you, we have got around 500 questions from you. We have selected the questions which is actually trying to cover your queries, which our chairman and vice chairman will be answering to it. And meanwhile, if you feel you have anything else, you can always post your question now, and we'll also take it up. Right? So students, now I'm going to welcome and invite my honorable chairman, CA Dayanivas Sharma. Sir, the platform is all yours now, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. And I think you have set the tone right. And good evening, dear students, boys and girls. More importantly, this is my first and the foremost address to the lovable students of our CA profession. First of all, let me welcome you all as a future chartered accountants. Not today, might be you are going to write your exams, but yes, you are going to be our future leaders in time to come. I am really privileged to be part of this board as a chairman in a year in which we are going to come out with a new education system, an education policy which is in pipeline, and it's going to be very interesting because it is going to actually have uh, the international curriculum also in it, and much more is awaited in time to come. Dear students, one thing I would like to say, my success started with failure. What I mean is, during our times when we were doing our articles, we used to have Sunday tests. So where we used to get prepared in an examination environment where 50 marks paper was being given to us. We used to go and write in a classroom environment or a hall environment for the 50 marks. And we always used to think, how do we pass that with 50 marks? Because what was required was 18. And you all will be surprised that for the first 3 Sunday tests, I got less than 15 marks and I failed in the Sunday test also. So that was the first fear which I actually overcome. And after that, I wrote all the exams and I cleared all our papers one after another. So what I want to say you all is, now you are going to write your May examinations, which is going to start from 14th of May. That means you have 19 full days. 19 full days. If you all people watch movies, and you might have watched movie like Uri, where within a night they won the entire war. That means, just imagine what was the frame of mind with which our Indian soldiers have gone on the other side of the borders and made it. So why are you worried? You have still 19 days to go. You have put in the best effort all throughout till now. From the time you got into CA, you used to attend classes, you used to attend video classes, then you had an opportunity of, I'll say for you, opportunity of COVID, where you had an opportunity to be at home, study, do some must practice, so that people can actually get advantage of that. When you talk about plan, prepare, perform, I would like to only just tell you one thing. Go back to your past. Go back to your past of couple of months, rather this 2 years plus months which you have gone through. Just think, you actually planned already, you prepared already. Now it is time to just perform. Don't think that you are going to start from zero. You have already come a long way. You have studied all the papers, and you have actually, only some fears are there in mind that, can I do it or I cannot do it? How do I make it? What do I do? My friend, okay, that one more discussion which comes now, Vandana madam, when we are actually writing examination, we start with that, frame of mind that, we'll write both groups together. And after a couple 2 months, we say, nay, I'll write one group. Then I think that, let me get an exemption. These are all excuses of life. We should not do that. Just think for a moment, go back from the day you started. You will get to know that most of the syllabus, rather, if you take it from me, list down all those topics of every subject. I am promising you on your behalf that more than 70%, if you have studied during last 2.5 years, and even in last 1 year, more than 70% of the topics in every chapter or every subject you will remember. It's only that you need to rebrush certain things and ensure you move forward. For that, what you need to prepare is one thing, which is get clarity. Sit for a while. Don't get tempted. Don't get tensed. What is my other friend doing? Just think for a moment. Close yourself in a room. Get a clarity. Put it on a wall. one piece of paper and start writing. What did you do in last couple of months? If you have studied any chapter, I'm promising you our memories are very strong, and particularly when you are going to do chartered accountancy, आपका दिमाग सबसे तेज रहेगा. I am telling you that. That is a reality. So put on a white paper and get a clarity of what you want to, what is that you are aware about. Number two, preparedness is on where I am weak, not on what I have done best. You have done best. Already you know the chapter very well. If you know the, any topic you take, accounts, costing, corporate law, or auditing, you might have already completed it. So don't worry on that particular thing that, what do I remember, what I don't remember. Just think about in this line, 19 days, what is that short thing which you have missed out to read. You read that, and I'm telling you, the confidence level when you write, your examination will be on a total different tangent. I wrote in my book one thing: do the thing first which you fear the most. The moment I sit for 3 hours dedicatedly and I start writing my, doing that problem or writing the theory, if the day I come within that 3 hours, if I make my mind that this is, I know, because it is written in English or it is a mathematics, that's all, nothing more than that. So just sit for that matter and prepare yourself for what you have left in past in a fear. That means you might have done same chapter multiple times and you have got expertise. The fear which is actually killing us is only that portion, because we are missing out something without, we are going for an examination without preparing for a particular topic. Then third important part is sit and create an environment, which I'm going to talk in detail when we have certain very interesting questions. I'm going to talk about the create environment approach, which I mean is, if 2 to 5 is your examination, don't even let your parents walk into your room. Start preparing now. You require 21 days to train your brain, to act effectively. All throughout, what we have been doing is, afternoon times we have been sleeping. That means you have given instruction to your brain to go and sleep during that particular time, whereas we have to have active brain at that point in time. So this 21 days, focus on that 2 to 5 timing, which is very clear, by creating a right environment. By do one thing, take company law, right? Take board of directors or take board meetings. Start reading during that time. Don't sleep. So read, write, create your brain, in a right form, so that it will be very interesting. More importantly, you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, whatever you have done in last 3 months, no one can, protect you. You have done a lot of job. You have done a lot of learning. Even if you have read once, we just imagine for a moment, we listen to songs, we watch certain movies, we hear certain things. Whereas in your case, you have attended classes, whether online, offline, you might have heard something, friends talking. That is also one thing which is very important. Believe in yourself. Whatever you have done good. That trust you should have on yourself. Never compare with your friend. Your friend will compare with you. You will compare with your friend. That is the biggest mistake which we are doing. I might be very good in understanding on corporate laws, but my friend will be very good in understanding of income tax, because his 2.5 years of training might have been in income tax. My 3.5 years of training would have been in company law or auditing. So never compare. You are good in one subject, be good in that subject. Never compare. Stay away, prepare for it, and rather take his help to understand quickly so that you prepare well, right? Evaluate what you missed. As I told you, that is something which is very, very important. Guys, I can tell you one thing. The fear is only within. The fear is only within. Forget about on a war day, we have to go and fight. We are losing the war by not even lifting the weapon. One after another, we lose confidence. Don't lose confidence. Your confidence is with you. You just have to know how many subjects you have prepared. And 19 days still is a fantastic time. As I told, generally accepted is 21 days. You can train your brain. So now you train your brain to ensure that you are going to go and do your exams well. Then couple of very interesting questions have come, and thanks to madam that she's given that thoughts to us to by evaluating. And also very importantly, board of studies in your interest has gone back and seen the papers, what students have done, what kind of mistakes they are doing. This is a big surprise. There are two things which are there. Some people have fairly done in practical, some people have fairly done in theoretical. Now, what is the gap? It's only the practice. It's only the practice. A person does a problem sometime on a piece of paper from the step 1 to step 10. And some students are very intelligent enough that they do problem on calculator. They both know the subject well. Please understand, they know the subject well. But the only difference is in the examination, the people who do well are those people who have done the problem on a piece of paper by putting step by step. People who don't do well and they feel that why I have not passed, I am very good in this particular subject, is only because you have not practiced the problem in the format which is required, based on which the marks are being allocated. Number two, on the other side, when we talk about the theory side, what students are making mistake is they don't follow one best practice which is required. You as a chartered accountant should be able to elaborate an answer and summarize the answer. This is very important because, as rightly told by madam, it is a 4-mark answer. Why did you write 10 marks and you lost the time in that? Rather, you should be in position to determine the timing based on your thought, based on the number of marks which is allocated to each question. You have to summarize and you also have to elaborate that same answer, and that can be done only and only by one way, by doing a right memory practice. What you should do is 200 pages book. I'll tell you my experience. You will be shocked to know entire IDT paper I used to complete within 1 hour of revision. That was something which is a shocker to many people. 69 marks I think I have got in IDT paper. Corporate law I used to complete in 3 hours. Just imagine 3 hours. How is it possible? Because there is a mechanism in which we need to really study, and you need to pinpoint. You need not remember the entire answer. Everything which is there has an exception, and you as a chartered accountant should remember those exceptions effectively. That is something which you need to know. 3/4, 2/4, 1/4, more than, less than, equal to. These are the points which are required to be caught. बाकी English तो हम सब लिख देंगे. बाकी English तो हम सब लिख सकते हैं. But certain things which are very important that need to be put on a piece of paper, like, I am preparing. For example, this is my book. I have to prepare something. My entire discussion is lying in this one piece of paper for today's session. That means when you write your examination of today, you should come back and have a nap or nice rest for an hour. Immediately after that, prepare for the next exam. And that preparation, what to prepare, is something which you note down now. You always have a fear. You get an instinct inside that, this is what I need to study, otherwise I'll forget. So highlight those portions, refer those papers. That's more than enough. Brain will actually support you, instruct you how to move forward. There are many things which I want to talk to you, but the point is, in my brief start, today being the first time, if my son, my daughter, my nephew would have been there, today the same thing which I am going to discuss with you all guys, because we all need lots of chartered accountants for this market. Nation is huge, opportunities are huge. Only thing is, just have that courage, have that confidence within you. On 19th day from now, if you go into the examination hall, you should be in position to say that, yes, I am passing. And just I am sharing one important part. After writing multiple attempts, right, of my CA exam, the last attempt when I wrote, every paper I used to come out and say, I am going to get this number of marks. Both groups put together, I have got 436. I still remember. Only 2 papers I got less than 50, which was accounts and costing, which was 49 and 49, which I expected 51 and 51. So what I'm trying to tell is, we know where we stand. What is our weakness? Let us work on our weakness in this 19 days and make it never have one point in mind. See, thing is, we create pressure in our mind. What my friend is studying, what my mother is going to think, my father is going to think, my principal is going to think, what kind of question it is going to come. Why are you bothered? Go there, kill it. That's it. So let's have an interaction with our vice chairman who has joined us, and after that we'll get into the Q&A session. Madam, let us welcome our vice chairman, sir.
Fine, sir. Sir, thank you. First of all, I thank you for the words, for the guidance you have given it to the students. And I can say it's a kickoff for the today's session. And sir, welcome, sir. Our Vice Chairman, CA Vishal Doshi, has also joined us. Sir, the students are anxiously waiting to listen from you so that you can take the baton forward from the chairman and can guide them so well that they don't have to think back. They know how best they can write in this, what they have studied in this 20 days, what they can do, and how they can really prepare themselves so that they don't have any problems at the time of exam. Welcome, sir. Sir, if you can please guide them, students, about, sir, if you can really pick up the way students have been faring in the past exams and what type of commonly occurring errors they are committing so that they should avoid those mistakes and write the paper in such a manner that they get the best of the marks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and a very good evening to my dear students. Speaking after the chairman board of studies is like coming out to bat after Josh Butler has scored a century. So I was listening to Dayabhai, and all the students are watching IPL. Exam pressure to release the exam pressure. IPL is the best dose you can have. That is what I would say. Friends, I would at this moment, before going into the specifics of the errors that are being committed, I would just like to share a few pointers initially. One is like what the chairman mentioned, and I very strongly believe that each person has his own strengths or weaknesses. Just like 5 fingers, they are not the same. Similarly, each student has the own strengths and weakness about how you study, the timing of your study. I have seen that I have dealt with so many students in my life, and I've seen that some people have the strength that they can stay awake till late in the night. If you ask me, I cannot do that. If you ask me, I can start early in the morning, and that is what is my strength. So each student would have its own strengths. So I would request that please look into what are your strengths. Don't do a copy paste. Okay, your friend is studying like this, or your relative is studying like this, and you need to follow that. You look into your own strengths, and that is what would be extremely important. Another thing is when we were going through the questions, I saw many asking that how do you study for 14 hours? How do you study for 16 hours? I have always believed that it is the quality that matters, not the quantity. So even if you are studying for 12 hours, but your effective output is equivalent to 10 hours, I feel that is more better than sitting with your study material or your books for 16 hours and getting an output of 9 hours. So you don't just look at the clock. I feel that what you should do is that you should also look into the effectiveness of the time that you are investing. Another important thing is that you have to follow the magic mantra that I can, I will, and I must. I would request that please take a printout, write these words and put it wherever you are going to look into in the next 20 days, on your study table, on your wall, your room wall, wherever. And these are the positiveness that you need to create, that you can, you will, and that you must pass these exams. Friends, success would equal to basic intelligence, hard work, determination, and perseverance. So all these factors you need to bring in when you are preparing for the exams. One more thing I feel it might work for somebody, it might not work for somebody, is group study. So group study, I would say for me, it has always worked, because what happens, like the chairman mentioned, in the afternoon, you tend to doze off. You feel a bit tired. And that is the time that when you are studying in the group and you observe other friends of yours who are studying, or they will prop you up. And another important thing is that whenever you are studying in a group, if you are stuck somewhere, you always have somebody to go to who can solve your query or answer your questions, guide you. That becomes a, many times when you start parking things at the end, just before the exam, you realize that, oh no, I had to ask this, I had to solve this, and now you don't have time, and there is a panic that gets created. So it's always better that whenever you have query, you have any doubt, you can interact with somebody who is there to guide you, to support you, and even to help you out of that. I would just give one more thing. I don't know nowadays whether it would work or not, but especially when it comes to the theory papers and law, friends, like I said, I used to do group study, and we used to play Antakshari. Now, what does that mean actually? That let us say 5 friends are sitting together, all appearing for intermediate, and they are studying corporate law on that day. And then we start saying that I used to say what a section one along with the subsections would be, without any study material or anything. Then let us say Vanna ma'am is there, so she would say what section 2 is, Daya sir would say what section 3 is, then the 4th one would say what section 4 is, then again it will come back to me what section 5 is. So, this is how we used to study. So that had a double advantage, that when we say that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, it is that when you are reading of your own theory paper especially, you tend to get bored. But when you are enjoying it like this, you are studying, and I have seen many times that on the day of the exam paper, then what happens? When you're studying in a group, there is always a joke that gets cracked over here and somebody's pulling somebody's leg, because you are a part of a cohesive group. And then many times I have actually realized that in the exam, when you get stuck somewhere, suddenly you realize an incident and you say, this is what had happened pre that incident, post that incident, that might have some reference to the section that you were discussing. And that is a way which I have found. Again, like I said, it might not work for everybody. 5 fingers are different. Each one would have its own strengths and weakness. But these are the way in which you can be creative when you are studying, and especially the theory papers. Friends, coming to the part that ma'am has said that I would cover with respect to the theory and the practical aspects. One thing is what Daya sir mentioned, the chairman mentioned, is the step-wise thing when it comes to the practical answers. Right? So you have to ensure that you write each and every step that is given in the answer, that is the possible way, and you give. When you are doing a practical subject, don't just assume that the examiner knows he has the answer, so you skip a couple of steps and straight away come to a number where there is no working that is attached to it. It's, as a student, when you are preparing for exams, especially the practical exams, it's always good that you need to write down what are the steps, and the stepwise marking would always help you score. When it comes to some of the other papers, especially the theory papers, I would say, I have received questions that whether you need to mention the case laws. You don't remember case laws. I believe, in my view, case laws are not important as long as you are able to write the right context, especially when we talk of the theory papers. So friends, that is what I believe is important when we are talking about the theory vis-a-vis the practical. And historically, we have seen that maximum students, I would say 99% of the students are able to score 40 plus marks when it comes to the practical papers. But when it comes to the theory papers, of the 70 marks that you have other than the MCQs, is just about, I would say, a very less percentage of about 15-20% who are able to score 40 plus marks in the theory papers. So which means that you have your theory papers is something which we all need to focus on. I'm not saying at the expense of the practical papers. And many times, friends, it's very important that how you schedule your day, how you schedule your study. Like right now you have 19 days. So first thing which I believe you should have is a daily calendar of the events or the subjects you are going to study, as well as the topics within the subjects. So as we all know, that should be our goal, our target, which should be challenging, not something which is very easy, which makes you relaxed, and not something which is extremely difficult, which makes you demotivated. It has to be something which is achievable, but at the same time should bring the best out of you. Second thing, when I talk of theory, again, I would share one trick. I don't know how much it would help, but it has helped me, and that is I'm sharing. I used to have 5 colored pens. when I was studying my theory papers. And whenever I used to study, for each of the color, I used to have a legend that this is the most important, this is the second priority, this is the third priority, and I used to highlight and underline them. In fact, I don't have them now, but if you would look at my study material, they would look like a drawing book. And what would happen is that just before the exam, you are now all privileged that you have a 1 day gap. Thereby myself, ma'am didn't have, we had daily papers back to back. So in that short time, what happens is that because you have given the color coding, you know what is the important thing that you have to read just before the exam, and which you feel that these are the important words, the key words. So let us say in a paragraph, especially again, I'm coming to theory papers like audit, law, there would always be some key words which you should remember and which the examiner would be looking for. These keywords you should highlight in green, red, or whatever color you feel, and you should ensure that you are able to memorize these. And also on the last day, because you have given that color coding, you are able to focus on your studies in that manner, that whatever is the most important, you ensure that you do that. Then if you have a couple of hours extra, you are able to go to the next level and ensure that you are able to do that. I understand it is not possible for everybody to go through the whole study material in the last 24 or 48 hours that you have. But then once you have these categories defined, it becomes much more easier that you are able to realize what is important, and the second best and the third best, which would help you in writing the answers or even in framing of the answers. So with these, I would now hand over back to Vanna ma'am for us to respond to whatever questions the students have asked.
Right, sir.
Over to you. Back to you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Students, you would have just seen that how really you have to attempt the theory questions and how to attempt the practical questions. Sir has apprised you, has given you all the tips. So follow these tips and nobody can stop you from being successful. Sir, now I'll start with the questions, which we have got around 500 questions from the students, which we have actually, sir, what we have done is, we have clubbed them because students, the anxiety, the students which they have, the questions which are coming into their mind, sir, I have actually segregated. I've tried taking 20 to 25 questions, which is going to be the key answers for all the questions. So one by one, sir, I'll be requesting you to respond to the questions and help the students in clearing their doubts, sir. Sir, the first question, Chairman, sir, I'm going to pose it to you. It's from Riyanshu Agarwal. He's saying that how to avoid those mistakes that a student do before a month of exam. Sir, it is not the mistakes which the students is going to make it in the exam. That before the exam, 20 days, what type of mistakes are they making, sir? What they need to really keep in mind, sir? I think, sir, you can tell from your own experience also.
So, yes, madam, thank you very much. I think it's a very interesting question. Before me, the Vice Chairman would have actually answered this. But Riyanshu, thank you very much for reminding me my old days for my examination, where we used to think, as I told you, that, the confidence level generally goes down. We just try to take certain excuses. Don't take excuses. Make a chart on your in your room, that what all you have completed and where you're confident about. If you take 4+4 in the final or intermediate, whichever chapters are there, you start highlighting those things. You know what happens? There's so much of syllabus which is there, and that syllabus you cannot remember at one go. And over a period of time, you read so many things which you are confident about, but the confidence loss primarily happens only because we are not having that 70 mm screen before us. That 70 mm screen should be having all the subjects, example, accounts, auditing, corporate law, costing, all the lines, one after another, you put the chapters and start highlighting them with the green color. You will get to know over a period of time, more than 85% of the syllabus you might have completed. And you can do an assessment, self-assessment before getting into the exam. What is happening is, during that last month, we don't do a self-assessment and we still think that there is much more to do. Remember one point, when we start the examination holiday, right? The first month is on a dip. Slowly the graph goes up because 2-3-4 दिन हम लोग क्या करते हैं, मूवी देख लेंगे, ये देख लेंगे, वो देख लेंगे, that goes down, then it goes up, and that when it is going up, you start batting so well that number of topics which you cover in a day is always higher, and you complete हो जाता है. Then after a particular point, when that stress comes out, slowly the graph goes down. This is the reality. First month, second month, third month, fourth month. But in this ups and downs, you have already completed. When you are down, you read something which you know. That means you are doing a revision. But you don't remember that, you have done a revision of known subject. So now the point which I am trying to do is create confidence for yourself by putting that green bar on every topic which you have completed. And only thing which you need to focus now is, if you have left a topic, just finish that topic within couple of hours, taking a help of a friend, or might be a tutor you are following, or might be a video which Board of Studies is putting for every topic. Go listen to it, you will understand. I'll tell you one simple example. My tough paper was costing. Always I had a fear of costing, and I wanted to score more than 50, which I told I got 49. In the fear, again, I got into the examination. I was doing all my problems during my examination time. On the examination day, I was only able to attempt for 46 marks. And after that, I was lost. What do I do? And you will be surprised to know the question was such nicely designed. When I read it 2 times, 3 times, with अब तो मालूम है, अब गया मेरा. अब गया मतलब अब कुछ नहीं हो सकता. तो पेपर खोलो, फिर से पढ़ लो, फिर से पढ़ना चालू करा. It was a basic standard costing, material standard costing का problem था, जो 12 mark में दिया हुआ था. Only it was detailed. So I sat, did, I got my marks. So the point which I am trying to tell you is, don't lose confidence. Just get back the confidence by seeing at that board on a continuous basis. That is a mistake one which they are doing. To rebuild that confidence, you need that focus. Number 2, as I told, don't try to relax during the examination hours. The 2 to 5 is the most crucial time. Keep your mind active. I am promising you one thing. Even once upon a time, you might have heard something on the examination sheet. You will remember and write that again. So please keep that confidence on for the last month. Start analyzing what you are trying to do, what you have completed, right? So this is my answer, ma'am.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Vice Chairman, sir, would you like to add something on this, sir?
No, I fully agree, but I would just like to add what sir mentioned, that in the last month, ensure that you write a paper every day. What happens is that when you are writing a paper 2 to 5, like sir rightly mentioned, 1, you are keeping yourself in the whole exam environment, you are building up. We have the mock test, you can download the earlier exam papers also, and you are able to time yourself, right? So because I have seen many times students coming and asking that what do we do in the initial 15 minutes? When the reading time is given. See, that I believe is the most important time. And you need to practice that. What to do in those 15 minutes, you can't straight away go into the exam hall and say that now I'll do this for 15 minutes. I believe the same thing you should practice for a month, and in that whole process, you will be able to time yourself. What the chairman sir mentioned, that for a 2-mark answer or a 3-mark answer, how much you need to write, that you will be able to assess for yourself, because once the alarm goes off at 5 p.m. on a daily basis, you yourself will be able to analyze that whether you have been able to attempt 100 marks or 80 marks or 90 marks, and that will itself be a practice. We all know that when we talk of Sachin Tendulkars and the Virat Kohlis and Rohit Sharmas, we know how much practice they do before they actually play in the ground. I think that same thing applies to us, that to be successful, we need to practice, and that 2 to 5, 30 days before the exam, daily solving one paper is going to be extremely important for success.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, the question is from Sahan Alam Laskar. Sir, actually, as you know very well, sir, sir, students at this time, they are actually, they have a lot of distractions also. Sir, we can say them as attractions or distractions. So Sahan is saying, sir, how to avoid the distractions and how to have a positive mindset. So kindly guide him, give him few tips which will help others also.
Right, right, San. So what I would say is, fortunately or unfortunately, we are all human beings. Otherwise, I would have said that let us wear blinkers. That is what I would have said. And that is what is required, that when you need to, we are talking of success in CA exams, there are only 3 words: focus, focus, and focus, which is most important. I have always believed that when you are passionate about succeeding, you have to bring that passion. Look around yourself, that whatever things you do with passion, you will forget everything. You might not even eat. If, let us say, I would say that if I talk of myself that I love cricket and IPL is going on, then I might even skip dinner if it is a very interesting match. I'm very passionate about cricket. I want to watch the whole match. So similarly, you also have to create that passion. And I can see, I have seen so many people that whenever you are pursuing your hobby, your passion, you will forget everything. I remember friends who are doing stamp collecting. They would travel a number of places, go to the most remote post office to get some very unique stamp that they want. That is the same fire which we need to inculcate, we need to bring in ourselves, that yes, I have to do this. This is the attempt that I have to qualify, come what may. I am not going to compromise. I'm not going to sacrifice anything over here. And I think once you have that belief, the blinkers would come automatically and all the distractions would go away. So this is what I would say. And I would give one example, there, sir, with your permission. And it's a real life example of mine. And, being a Gujarati, we are very crazy about Navratri and Garba. And एवरी नवंबर हमारे करियर में एक दिवाली नवरात्रि बर्बाद तो होती है सीए एग्जाम. लेट्स बी वेरी कैंडिड, लेट्स बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. And I in my CA days, I was extremely crazy about doing Garba and all, and I was studying at home. And 2 दिन 3 दिन रात, in fact Navratri, so we talk of the nights, so 2 nights 3 nights I somehow controlled. But the 4th, वो spring उछलता है ना, so I said nothing doing, आज let me go for an hour and come back, then only I'll be able to. And then I got ready, and just when I was going out, my dad was sitting in the hall. He's also a chartered accountant, and then he just asked me that, where are you going? I said, I'm just going for a Garba for a night. And he says, friends, it's almost now 25 years, I still remember that sentence. He said, Vishal, you decide whether you want to enjoy this Navratri or you want to enjoy all the Navratris of your life.
Right.
I hope you are getting the message, friends.
Yes.
So this is the level of focus. This is the level you have to create that passion, that come what may, you will be focused on your studies. That's from my side.
Yeah, Vishal bhai, just to tell one more thing, madam, just to put a word in the mind of people. I have always coined one thing, which is called cost of sacrifice. Cost of sacrifice is something which we all have to remember. Like Vishal sir has talked, that if he had to miss out that Garba, that's the cost of my sacrifice, and it cannot be just left behind. And I have to get the benefit out of it. If I have missed out a Garba, that means I have actually to pass. That's it. That's the cost of my sacrifice. I have to take it in form of return.
Right, sir. I think, sir, well said, sir. Sir, I come to the next question. Sir, what do we do? Krishna Gopal is saying, what do we do if we feel burnout before exam? How to rejuvenate them, sir? Because maybe I've not done that paper well. I come back, I feel, what have I done? There is no point giving the next paper. So how really to come out of that and then start preparing for the next paper?
Very, very valid question this boy has. And more importantly, madam, I think everyone who is attending this session, if they have written intermediate, in the final also they'll have the feeling. If they are writing final, they might have already gone through that process, or might be in foundation, they have gone through some other thing. See what happens. Let us talk about a human psychology, right? Example, I prepare for a speech. And what happens in the speech is, when I'm going to a particular location, then some trigger happened which disturbed my mind, right? I've prepared it well, very important. When I go to the dais and start speaking, I deliver my speech. people go for a standing ovation and they say that you have done a fantastic speech. But my heart, because my mind and heart is disconnected. So my heart says, no, I have not done it well. What is happening in the CA student also is that the mind and heart is not together. Sometimes we think that we will perform well. Might be little less. Out of 100, you might have come to 95 in your performance, and that fear of unnecessary is created in a student mind. And they think that they have not done well, and I'm not going to write my next exam. But technically, those students really write well. Only thing was that marginal loss is there, and that marginal loss is actually made bigger in mind, and the confidence for the second paper is not good. So most of the time, what happens is, if I write today's paper and then I go and write tomorrow's paper, I think that today's paper is bad. Tomorrow's paper, which I am prepared well, I make it bad. Rather, in my exam result, I see that in today's paper, I've got more marks, and my best paper, I've got it down. So this is actually a human psychology which is impacting students. Please understand, every paper is an independent paper. If you take an example of Vishal sir, again from cricket point of view, every ball is an independent ball. You cannot hit a 6 every time. You sometimes have to play, sometimes you have to hit a 4, sometimes it is a hit in a 6, right? So don't get demotivated based on your past performance. Paper is over, close it. Don't come back and start evaluating where do you stand in the current paper. Don't do that. And I'm telling you, don't do comparison with your friends also. Finish exam, directly come to home, take a rest, have a bite, start preparing for the next exam. That's it.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Sir, Vice Chairman, sir, the next question is from Sonu. Sir, he's saying that, like, what is happening? I know the question and I know the concept also, and I'm not able to write. See, when I started writing the answer, I feel I'm not able to express myself. I'm not able to proceed further, in spite of knowing that particular question and the concept. What to do in this such type of circumstance?
I feel, Sonu, what I answered earlier is maybe, is it because of the lack of practice? What happens is, I would say, put it in two ways. One is that if whether it is a lack of practice, that when you are into the exam hall and you have not practiced those 3 hours, many times what happens is that you go blank. It happens to many students. So like I said, first thing is that you have to, from tomorrow, start all of you practicing one paper a day, take different papers, do a law, or maybe follow the same sequence as your exam sequence that you have. So that will also give you time that how do you plan to study in the last 24 hours. So let us say tomorrow you are doing a paper 1 and day after you are doing a paper 2. Or maybe just like exam, you skip a day, you do a paper 2. And for paper 2, you plan that how do I prepare in the last 48 hours. You know, that one way in which you can overcome this. The second is like what the chairman sir mentioned, is the confidence level. You have to think positively. You have to be high on confidence. The moment you start, see, these CA exams are definitely stressful. We have all gone through it, right? So we are aware that yes, they are stressful, but you give room to even 1% negativity or 1% stress to take over. I can assure you it will take over 100% of you. And therefore, you have to ensure that you do not give any room to stress or to negativity. You have to think positively. Like I said, that you have to have this mantra that I can, I will, and I must. You know, these are the things you should keep repeating in your mind. And last, I would say, in case such a thing has happened that you go blank, don't worry. Go to a next question, answer that which you are confident about, which you can, or maybe I'll give a very simple thing that, you know, you have a question which you are attempting, let us say is for 10 marks, and you feel that you are not able, you are stuck somewhere. And then I would suggest that go for a answer which is of lesser marks, maybe let us say a 2 mark, 3 mark, or a 5 mark. Start writing that. in the meantime, the once you start writing those answers which you are confident of, which you are you are able to answer, that itself would make you forget about what had happened with the earlier question, and your I would say your juggernaut will start rolling. That would start giving you confidence, because in the given time frame, let us say in 1.5 hours, you are able to attempt for the 40 marks. I'm not saying 50 marks, but even if 40 marks, you will self-motivated that in the balance 1.5 hours, I have to cover 60 marks, and that will give you a push. And maybe I very strongly believe that during the exam time, you will be able to overcome that fear in that answer that you had got stuck. And if possible, keep that answer to the last. This is what I would suggest from my side.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, Chairman, sir, I think, sir, this paper, I think, is very close to your heart. Costing paper, sir. Sir, Deepak is saying, how should I approach my costing question paper?
Deepak, if you get to know, come and tell me also till now. So, see, there is no approach. I'll tell you one thing. The concept is very simple. Do practice, right? Do practice. Might be when you're doing a standard costing or a marginal costing, there are different sections which are there in every chapter, right? When you talk make or buy, any other items which are there in the respective subjects, what you have to do is, if you are taking a particular chapter, see what are those branches which are being discussed in that particular chapter. That is something which is very important. What happens in costing paper is, we are not good in costing. So what we don't understand is what is the discussion which is happening and what formula is applied for what. What is the gap which is there? So what I would suggest is, every chapter when you are going to take in costing, put it a tree diagram kind of thing. What are the branches which are coming out? Which are the adjustment, or which is the critical aspect, relevant costing? What is relevant costing, critical aspect? You need to mention that. So what happens with that is that confidence building when you read a question, whether it is on a which part of these legs is actually the question coming out, that you will understand. So the fundamental thing which I realized why I was failing in costing was, I was not able to understand from where that question is, why मतलब इसका कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, ना ऊपर नहीं आ रहा ना नीचे नहीं आ रहा है. So what I used to do is, I used to put in my mind in that bucket, where is it falling in the standard costing, where is it falling in the marginal costing, where is it falling in any other chapter which is there. So that is my suggestion. Don't worry, it is easy, we can pass. Nothing to worry about that. It's only that key you need to catch. That's all.
Students, I would just like to add 1 or 2 points to this. Like sir said, in standard costing, there are many formulas are there. And what we do is, we try to mug up those formulas. We do not know the conceptual clarity behind it. So when a question is posed, I do not know which formula to pick up and how to solve it. So understand the reason, the underlying reason for that particular formula, so that once you read the question, this is where you have to pick up this particular formula. And this is what, like sir, I tell you, I also used to get lost in the costing paper. I never used to know which formula to really choose. I know I understand the question, but how to start, which formula to use. So that is why I also got, at the first instance, I got 37. And I failed the second group because of costing only. But yes, we need to understand that part, that yes, we should understand that. And students, 1 or 2 things more. Like what is happening in the, when there is a question based on the cost sheet. You have been asked to prepare a cost sheet. Sometimes students get confused as to the treatment about certain items like administrative expenses, power and diesel. So what you need to know, you should know what assumption to make and to make a specific note for that, right? And one thing more is also there. When we are reading the topic, what is happening, we tend to rather mix up with certain definitions like allocation, apportionment, and absorption of overhead. So you should understand what these three terms are and how to use them appropriately, right? So the treatment will be different for all these three things. So keep in mind the reason, the understanding and use of that particular term, and to solve the question in that particular manner. Sir, I come to now, sir, the question which most of the students have asked. Vice Chairman, sir, you are expert in the auditing, sir. I have heard you number of times, tried to upgrade myself also at this stage also. So, sir, how to attempt the audit paper, sir? Sir, I'll tell you from the experience, from what we have seen, students are not able to do well in auditing, sir, which is the core area of our chartered accountants. Sir, please guide them. They are saying how we know, but we do not know what to write. Sir, please guide them as to how really to read the audit and how to attempt the questions. Please, sir.
Yeah, I know it's very easy to speak about how to read and how to write than actually doing it, because we've been through that whole process. But then I'll split between the two, means for intermediate and for final. What I would say is that when we come to the intermediate exams, first thing I would say is that the students know that they lack the understanding and knowledge of the EQC, that is engagement and quality control standards, and they do not apply the same in the situation that is given in the paper. Friends, we should understand that auditing as a subject is more on the auditing standards, the standard on quality control with respect to frauds, responsibilities of the auditors, and the audit processes. And therefore, our full focus should be on the standards on auditing and the related chapters. So similarly, I can have a short, like you have the chapter 5 on the frauds and responsibilities of the auditor in this regard, where, the examples that are given about misappropriation of assets, whereas when the question that is asked is on the examples for the causes of the misappropriation of assets. So again, I would say that for any theory paper, what you need to do is that you need to study it in greater detail, understand the importance, because it is all text when you are doing the study material or going through the study material, and therefore you need to have an understanding of what the particular standard, especially because when we are talking about the audit, like you have the chapter on analytical procedures. Then students, you need to relate to the different attributes rather than get confused about the using of the analytical procedure, like the ratio analysis, trend analysis, and all those things. Even continuing that about the legal provisions under the Companies Act, which is covered in Chapter 10 for appointment of internal auditor, because many times what happens is that the facts are given in the question, but the students are not able to comprehend and relate that with the legal requirement. So again, coming back to the same old funda, which I said, is that practice makes a man perfect. And that is what I believe is very, very true for our students also, for our CA exams also. Similarly, when we come to the final examination, there are chapters which are based on the risk assessment, internal controls, the standards on audit like SS 600 with respect to joint audits, and many times students refer to the standard correctly, but when they then go in greater detail, when they write the answer, they are not able to comprehend exactly what is required. And that is where I mentioned, if you remember, that some of the keywords is something for each of the standard, each of the chapter, or within each paragraph that you need to understand, and you need to, if as far as possible, reproduce in the answer sheet. So what will happen is that, let us say there are 3 or 4 keywords in a particular paragraph that you remember and you reproduce, then the English would automatically take care of yourself, and ultimately with those keywords you are able to understand, you are able to comprehend, and you will be able to answer it appropriately. This is how I would look at auditing paper. Another thing is, friends, I've seen, especially when it comes to the exam, I always tell the students who come to me what to do during the exam. When they ask, I said one important thing is MIOB. That is what my teacher taught me. and the full form is mind your own business. I have seen that students, they get panicky, and when we are sitting in a classroom, there is one student who stands up and asks for supplementary, and I start getting sweat. Arey, that person is asking for supplementary. I have not even completed half the answer book. And that is why I said, you please mind your own business. You forget about what others are doing, how many people are standing up, how many are sitting down. Remember that you have to focus. Those 3 hours are yours. And I would say that just focus on your answer sheets. Ensure that you are able to answer things. And most important, answer attempt for 100 marks. That is extremely important. Yes, ma'am.
Unmute, madam.
Students, you would have heard, sir, he has guided you for all majorly topics, how really to study and how really to pen down your answers. So practice. I'll tell you, like sir has said, do practice. Don't think that you have read is sufficient. You need to write again and again and then see the answer which is there in the material, whether you are writing on the same lines or not. So kindly take care of that. And sir, Chairman sir, I would like to ask you one more question. Students are saying in the papers where the MCQ based questions are there, how to start, whether they should start with the MCQ based questions or they should start with the subjective questions. So sir, kindly guide them, sir.
I think it's very subjective answer to be given, because if you ask me, madam, guys, I'll tell you one thing. When I started writing paper, I used to start writing from the last question because it was 4 marks each. So the level of confidence which I was getting was to start coming to the pitch. When you play cricket, first ball you just touch upon, second ball you hit a 6, might be second, third ball, fourth ball you play. So what I used to do was primarily I used to prepare my mind whether I need to write a bigger answer first or a smaller answer first. Based on the subject, I used to play around with, and I used to write the last answers, 4 parts, out of 5 you have to write 4. So that 4 were easy for me to start getting the confidence that I am coming into the group. So now when you talk about an MCQ or a subjective, it is your choice. I cannot tell you, no one can tell you, even the paper setter cannot tell you what you should start with. It is you have to tell yourself, not any other person. That is more important. Madam, one more question is there, which I am tempting to answer, right? Which is you have shared as the list of questions, which is someone talking about due to lack of time, not able to compile with what I already studied. So I gave partial answer earlier. The second part of the answer, I would like to tell the 19 days time. What you do is, you have prepared well. As I told you, tick, 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 which I have completed. Now when I'm going to sit, take a small book like this, right? Small book like this, not bigger one, right? Take a topic. In this 1/2 page, 1/4 page, you should completely write which are the critical points that you need to remember. And before the examination, that 1 page only you should read in book. I don't recommend you to read the entire thing, chapter 1, from chapter number 1, page number 1, problem number 1, theory number 1, this number 1, that number 1. No, you have the knowledge of the entire subject. What you need to remember is, when you are preparing, see, example, let us take Vishal bhai, you will also agree, 2 to 5 is my exam. You guys are really lucky, I'm telling you. We used to have 8 papers, one after another. Point number 1. Number 2, you get 15 minutes more to read a paper and write the paper then, right? We never used to. That 15 minutes was included in the 3 hours for us. So how we used to write? Just imagine. And most of the things were altogether new in our case. Now it is more settled in the laws and all. So what I used to do is, the moment I complete 5 o'clock exam, don't talk to anyone, straight away come home. Once you reach home, have a meal, tell your mother who is actually there, fantastic paper, हो गया, अब tough हुआ ना, ठीक है, no problem, कल मैं अच्छा कर लूंगा. अगर जाकर सोना है, 5 मिनट जाके सो जाओ, 15 मिनट जाकर सो जाओ. क्योंकि अगर आप 7 बजे से 12 बजे तक पढ़ेंगे, राइट, बट 7 से 12 3 घंटे हुए, 12 बजे तो सोना ही पड़ेगा. If some person sleeps early, some people sleep late. So 12 बजे हो गया. Then when you get up at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, based on your time, your sleeping time clock, if you are getting up at 6 o'clock, which is 6 hours, is very much needed. My grandfather used to say a very simple thing. 6 hours sleep is luxury, 5 hours sleep is necessity, 4 hours sleep is compulsorily required. Otherwise, human body will not work. So remember this for your examination. 4 hours is more than enough for us to sleep. But yes, energy level is required. हमारे टाइम पे तो एक के बाद एक होता था. So example, you get up at 6. Again from 6, don't get up in a tension and all. You have prepared, sit. तो जो छोटा पढ़ना था पढ़ लिया, जो इजी पढ़ना था कल पढ़ लिया. आज सुबह उठकर मेरे को वही चीज पढ़ना है जो मेरे को कल मतलब 2 बजे से फोकस करना है. So plan it in that manner. Prepare when you are 19 days, when you read certain topics like Vishal sir has talked about, list down all the small points in a piece of paper and move on. That is the best way to do it. So madam, I have answered 2 things. First was your question, and second was mine, which I picked up.
Yes, sir. So you have covered that question. You have saved that much time, sir. I don't have to repeat that question for you, sir, because questions are inbuilt in your mind also, sir. I think in both of your mind, the questions are there. And sir, Vice Chairman, sir, students are asking, Shubhi is asking, what is the importance of solving past year revisionary test papers? And sir, on a lighter note, she's asking, how much weightage can we expect that question will come from that module?
See, again, what I would mention is that solving the past year's RTPs, I would say even the past year's question papers by themselves, they are extremely important, because see, when you go through the RTP, that gives you a revision, a 360 degree of all the chapters, because that is what RTP are for. And I would say that is the reason why they come at the last. They are released at the last, because it is expected syllabus, they would have revised the whole syllabus, and now they are prepared, they are geared up to solve the questions relating to that particular subject. So if you ask me, I feel solving it are extremely important. How much would be picked up from that I think so the paper setter would know, I would not know. But extremely important, RTPs, the study material of the institute, because the study material of institute is very comprehensive. Our Board of Studies team, they spend a lot of time in framing the study material and also revising on a regular basis for adding new solutions, new text, as well as also removing the redundant portions and all. So because I understand there was one question which I was going through where it was also mentioned that how important are the study materials, and whether going through the study material, only the study material is helpful or not. So again, RTPs, I would say the question papers of the last 4 or 5 exams at least, the mock tests, the papers that are uploaded, or even the branches they conducted, and definitely to start with the study material. These are extremely important, and I would request you not to miss them.
Thank you, sir. Students, I would just like to add over here the latest amendments which are applicable for the next exam. For the forthcoming exams, we try covering questions from the latest amendments also, which will help you in rather knowing as to what is the change and how really you can write down that particular answer. So attempt those questions. There is no guarantee that that question will come or not, but something similar to that, because concepts are the same and questions may come from there or not in a different manner it is asked, but you should be updated with the amendments, and RTPs are covering all those amendments. Whatever changes are there, they are covered, and the questions, latest questions are also covered from the amendments. So do practice them. It will help you in attempting that particular question well. Sir, do you, I think, sir, shall we take on more questions, or you would like to give some last moment tips as to how to study during the last one day before the exam how really to use the study material of the institute, what all we are providing it to them. So like we are coming out with a capsule also for each subject. The material, RTPs, the MCQ booklet, case study booklet, and the quick referencer of the capsules. Sir, how you rather guide the students as to how to use the material of the institute in preparing in the last one day? Because it's not possible to cover everything in the last day. So how really to do it so that they are not under any pressure to complete the entire course? So please.
I think, Madam, I have answered that very clearly to our students with regards to in this 19 days time, they need to see, you cannot read everything again. Let us be very clear and never stress yourself thinking that you can prepare by reading everything again. Please understand that certain things in a particular chapter, when you talk about any subject you take, any of your choice, direct tax, indirect tax, auditing, corporate law, accounts, or might be costing, you might have already covered certain things very effectively. There would have been some very interesting choice, favorite topics when we were studying. So those things we actually prepare well at that point in time. So during the last moment, I think whatever you might have ticked certain important aspects, even in your capsule, some flowcharts are beautifully given that covers the entire topic very nicely. And that is already available in our BOS app also. Pull out those which has been done, or if it is not now I don't want to tell you new thing. Whatever you have done it in past, only pull out. Madam, I'll tell you, you asked one very interesting question to Vice Chairman, sir. He is now left. I think he's catching his flight. No problem for us. But I'm really thankful that he could actually make it to come sitting at the airport in the love and affection of the students. In case of auditing, I actually did, you know what? I tore the entire auditing study material into pieces. And I used to read one page to get the confidence. And every time when I wrote exam on auditing, I never got less than 55 marks. And the day I cleared, it was more than 65 marks, which was, there. What I'm trying to tell you is just sit for a day. Now 19 days are left. Sit for a day to do a complete revamp of the entire, revisit to all the entire process, pull out those important chapters, keep it in a proper sequence, because those are the things which you have highlighted already while reading. Before the exam, you need to have it handy. That's more than enough for preparing. That is itself is a big confidence for all you people.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, actually, before we end the things, sir, I just would like to highlight at the beginning, I had actually highlighted certain typically committed errors which are being done by the students. 2-3 more I am also telling to the students. Students, kindly note the questions which are requiring calculation. What you are doing the right calculation, but when you are writing the figure, the figures the way you are writing, they get interchanged. Like, for example, the amount was 1025 and you tend to write 1052. So what happens? The further steps which you are doing, you will tend to get, your marks will be deducted. So be very careful about the calculations which you are doing and the figure which you are writing. Be very careful in that. And what is happening when you are preparing the balance sheet, financial statements and the profit and loss? What is happening when the figures are being carried forward to the next page? When you are carrying forward the figures, you tend to write the wrong, the figure which you have brought forward is the wrong one. Again, you end up making that mistake and your marks are gone. And one more thing is that the questions which require certain assumptions, what you are doing is you are just calculating, you're just giving the steps. You don't write what have you assumed. So assumptions are very much required as to what particular assumption you have taken, because the base which you have followed is missing. So kindly write down the assumption based on which you are attempting the question. And what is happening? The questions which require in accounts and FR paper, the accounting standard and the Ind AS, at times you tend to write the wrong Ind AS or the wrong accounting standard. You quote it wrongly. You know the standard, you know the objective of that standard and what treatment is to be given. But what you do is you quote the wrong standard. So if you are not very confident about the standard number, don't write. This will help you in not having your marks getting deducted. So students, you should know about the formats. Schedule 3, you should know Division 1, how the balance sheet is to be drawn, Division 2, how the balance sheet is to be drawn, what items are coming. So all those things you should be aware about the formats. Be very sure about the formats because it will help you in preparing the balance sheet properly. So these are the small tips which you need to keep in mind. And students, one more thing is there. Tomorrow is the last mock test paper of series 2. From 27th onwards, our BOS faculty will be taking special counseling session for you for all the papers at all the levels, intermediate and final. Do attend these sessions and they will guide you for each and every subject, each and every topic, chapter, what type of mistake you make and how really you need to take care of those things. So kindly attend those sessions because it is really going to help them, because we are the ones and BOS is always there with you for guiding you at all the facets of your life. And before, sir, we conclude, I would like to thank our chairman, CA Dayanivas Sharma, and our vice chairman, CA Vishal Doshi, who have specially taken all the care. They said we have to do this because this is not something we are doing it for the first time. This is the first of the series. Once the exams get over, we'll again come back to you. After the results will come, again we'll come to you. So we'll keep on coming back to you. We know that you want us at all the times. So I would like to thank both of you, sir, for all the time you have spared and guided the students. So students, all the best and do well. Keep the tips in your mind and nobody can stop you. All the best. Thank you, sir.
All the best to all the dear students. Never fear, just be ready. That's it. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I thank our vice chairman also in absentia. Sir had to take the flight, so he has gone and he has said that wish from my side also all the best to all my students. From chairman sir and vice chairman sir and from the BOS, the entire team of BOS, we all wish you all the best. Keep working hard. Don't feel depressed because CA is a course of strong people. Those who have got strong mind, and like everybody knows, the battles are not won on the battleground. First, you have to win the battle in your mind. So you know you have to appear in the exam. So you know in your mind that you have to pass. You have to be successful. If you're determined in your mind, so when you go and give the paper, you will surely do it. Right? Thank you. Thank you, sir. And thank you, students, for all the time you have been with us. Thank you very much. And good night to all of you.
Good night.